The courtroom was silent, except for the arrogant shuffle of polished shoes against the marble floor. Officer Randall Hale leaned back in his chair, arms folded, his badge gleaming like a weapon on his chest. He smirked at the man across from him, a quiet, broad-shouldered single dad dressed in a simple shirt and tie. "Another deadbeat who thinks he knows the law," Hale muttered under his breath. The man didn't flinch. He only looked down at his hands, the hands of someone who had built things, carried weight, fought battles. His name was Daniel Cole, a Marine veteran and father of a little girl who sat anxiously in the back row, clutching a teddy bear. What Randall didn't know was this: he had just dragged the wrong man into court. Randall had been abusing his badge for years, writing unjust fines, bullying single parents, and intimidating those too poor to fight back. He thought the courtroom was his playground. The judge often overlooked his behavior, and no one dared challenge him. But when Randall wrongly accused Daniel of resisting arrest during a traffic stop, Daniel decided he couldn't just roll over. Not for himself, and not with his daughter watching. "I don't care what it costs," Daniel told his neighbor the night before the hearing. "If I don't stand up now, what lesson am I teaching my little girl? That bullies always win." In court, Randall strutted to the witness stand like a king. His testimony dripped with false confidence. "This man was aggressive, uncooperative, a threat. I had no choice but to use force." Daniel finally lifted his head. His voice was calm, steady, the kind of voice that only comes from someone who has stared down darker battles. "Your Honor, with all due respect, I've spent years serving this country. I know what aggression looks like. I also know what restraint means. That officer's story is a lie." The courtroom shifted. Even the judge leaned forward. Then Daniel did something no one expected. He didn't rant. He didn't attack Randall personally. Instead, he pulled out a small flash drive. "I installed a dash cam months ago. For my daughter's safety. If the court allows it, the footage will speak louder than I ever could." The screen lit up. Gasps rippled through the courtroom as the footage played. There was Randall, towering over Daniel, shouting threats, yanking him out of the car while his daughter cried in the back seat. And there was Daniel, calm, hands raised, pleading for the officer to stop so his little girl wouldn't be traumatized. The truth shattered the badge's shine. Randall's smug face turned pale. But what happened next stunned everyone. The judge, visibly shaken, turned to Daniel. "Mr. Cole, why didn't you just press charges?" Daniel's eyes softened as he looked back at his daughter. "Because, Your Honor, I don't want to teach her to hate. I don't want her to believe every man in uniform is the enemy. I want her to see that even when you're wronged, you can choose to fight with truth, not revenge." The room went still. Even Randall, for the first time, looked away in shame. The judge slammed the gavel. "Case dismissed. Officer Hale, you will be suspended pending investigation. And I suggest you remember, your badge doesn't make you untouchable. Integrity does." Randall stumbled as he left, stripped of his arrogance. But Daniel stayed seated, holding his daughter's small hand. She whispered, "Daddy, you were brave." Daniel squeezed her fingers gently. "No, sweetheart. I was just honest. That's stronger than brave." Word of the trial spread. Some called Daniel a hero. Others said he gave them hope, that ordinary people could stand up against abuse of power. But for Daniel, the victory wasn't about the headlines. It was about the quiet car ride home, when his daughter leaned against his shoulder and said, "I'm proud of you." And maybe, just maybe, even Randall learned something. That a badge doesn't shield you from the truth. And that sometimes the people you least expect, the single dad, the quiet veteran, carry the kind of strength that changes lives. The story of Daniel Cole reminds us all. Real power doesn't come from a title, a badge, or a position. It comes from character. From kindness, restraint, and the courage to stand for what's right, without losing compassion along the way. Because at the end of the day, it's not about winning a fight. It's about teaching the next generation what true strength looks like.